Hello everybody and welcome back to Forge Core Gaming. I'm your host Phoenix, and today I just wanted to drop a quick video with some testing and sightseeing I did while flying around the 4.2 PTU. I'll discuss some bugs, the state of the PTU, in addition to the latest round of improvements made to the game. We're going to do the shotgun style, so in no particular order. Before we get started though, I'd like to ask that you hit that subscribe button if you're not already following the channel. We're still growing, so every single like, comment, and new subscriber really has an impact on helping us grow further. But without further ado, let's get into it. Up first, I wanted to test out the improvements made to the Idris, particularly in respect to the gun capacitors. I didn't know the extent of the changes they had planned on making, and keep in mind we're still in PTU, so everything is still subject to change. First, I checked out the main Exodus cannon. This is of course from the K variant. Its ammo capacity seems to have jumped severely by roughly 100%, from a capacity sitting in the mid 50s all the way up to around 120. I'm not exactly sure on the number. Now, I'm not sure if they touched the drain rate or the recharge rate. It's kind of hard to tell, but I really don't think this change was even necessary. The old capacitor for this gun seemed to be really high already, and it recharged really quickly, so I'm not certain what they were looking to accomplish here. Up next, I checked out the capacitors on the turrets, and yeah, I believe this one was warranted because the turrets were much lower capacity than the Polaris. At max power, these sat below 100, which kinda sucked, and made it difficult for these things to really do their jobs. Now, buffed, they sit comfortably at 163 rounds per gun. I did only check that on the Galderines though that came stock with the ship. I did not add any other guns, so let me know if you have and there's a change there. Which, this still isn't crazy in my opinion. It seems warranted for the Idris, given a ship its size. Now, let's talk about the first bug I found, as it is directly relating to the turrets on the Idris. There seems to be an error going on where if you get into the Idris turrets and power cycle the ship, that turret then becomes slave to the pilot. At first I thought I was seeing double, but no, I tested this with every single turret on the ship and was able to successfully bug/slave every turret on the ship to my controls. Bear in mind, I say slave lightly as they maintain the last position you had them in, but then they move according to your inputs. This is obviously a bug and came with some side effects of completely ruining my targeting pips, so honestly not terribly useful, nor should you expect it to stay around very long. Moving on, I made my way out to Pyro 1 to check out some of the new Lazarus Transport Hub POIs. These places are packed as Wave 1 testers poured into the PTU. I mean literally, ships everywhere. With that said, I expected a huge performance drop as far as frames went, but really only experienced that server side. Each time I went to one of these POIs, it was dark, so I couldn't get amazing views of everything, or maybe I'm missing something and it's supposed to be like this, I don't know. Either way, all the building units look pretty interesting, but I think they need to balance the NPC spawn rates, as on multiple occasions I came out of a building that I had just gone in, and 5 to 6 NPCs were right outside in a location where I had just taken them out. On a side note, some of the armor pieces from the 4.1 PAF sites, for example the Antium pieces, can be found here, which is a nice surprise for any fellow loot goblins. A rather unexpected but welcome surprise occurred when another player in an Atlas IKTI attacked one of my org mates. Luckily, he was able to escape, and I snuck around and got the drop on him as he was out of his suit. After dispatching the player, I was able to climb into the suit after giving it a good look around. It looks like this is the base Atlas IKTI, as it didn't have a jump pack. Instead, it had a 1/8 SCU cargo storage compartment, which is neat. After climbing in, I found that I wasn't able to move around, but I was able to shoot. Not sure if the immobilization was a security feature or if it was attributable to low server performance. Even still, being able to fire it was very satisfying, as the noise it made while firing was really good. Hats off to whoever did the sound design there. It's also nice to see that the IKTI uses energy-based weapons that recharge from the suit's capacitors, though there was an ejection port of sorts that may indicate that we eventually need to replace the battery, or there's a chance of it breaking due to component wear. I'd be intrigued to investigate it more when I can get my hands on one. We were also able to get our hands on some keycards from a dead player, so we took them over to this warehouse that had a keycard panel on it, but despite having unlocked it and triggering an opening message, the door just wouldn't work. One of my other org mates stated that this is very likely where the Valakar egg is stored, and that will give you a chance to spawn the adult Valakar. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to test that out because the server bugged, forcing me out of the game and back into character creation, which was odd. For my next series of tests, my friends and I boarded the Idris and headed back to Pyro 1 to go check out the effects of lightning. Our logic was that a large ship like the Idris would be able to withstand the distortion effects of lightning more effectively than a smaller one. As we flew around, we were a little bit disappointed to see that the rain effects did not interact with the bridge windows as one would expect. Viewing from the inside, you could barely tell that there was any inclement weather at all. Huge disappointment, as I think the Idris would have been one of the cooler ships to fly around through bad weather. I'm hoping that they improve the way weather interacts with windows in the future, and this may be attributable to the fact that the current Idris we have is an older model built on older tech, but who knows. Our presuppositions of the Idris being more weather resistant seem to be made in error, because not long after we entered some tumultuous weather conditions, we were abruptly dropped out of the sky. Luckily, we weren't high off the ground, so we didn't explode. Just a side note, your HUD should provide you with a distortion warning in this scenario, but only 1 out of the 3 of us were actually receiving those messages, and I was the pilot and I wasn't getting them. Once we fell out of the sky, we waited around for about 10 minutes to see if the ship would recover, but it appears that so long as the bad weather continued, we were grounded. Now, we had a couple of fighters in the hangar bay, so we tested to see if those were still operational, but it looks like the distortion from the lightning storm permeates the hull and disables ships parked inside of the hangars as well. I'm unsure if this is a bug or if it's working as intended. Either way, we decided to go out on foot to see if we can make it to a nearby settlement, but on-foot navigation tools aren't very effective. With respect to the feel and the vibe of the inclement weather, I think it's great. It really felt immersive and tangible as we walked around the dead hull of our ship, and the background music of Pyro 1 really helped tie together the idea that we were in some serious trouble. Anyways, as we walked, it took about 15 to 20 minutes for our bodies to overheat and our health begin draining. And given as it was late in the evening anyways, we decided to call it a night there and conclude our first round of testing. Overall, super cool patch so far. We didn't see any unique missions or anything driving us to the new POIs, but those may be coming in future releases of the PTU, or we just missed something that would have triggered those. Either way, things are looking pretty exciting, and it's really cool to see more options added to the sandbox. I talked about this a few weeks ago. We're receiving more and more options on what we're able to do, which means it's less likely to run into murder hobos, or for new POIs to be bogged down by bad server performance. On top of that, this PTU to me did feel more stable, so that's a good sign, but it could have just been my perspective, and I may be wrong on that. I think this is a good point to end the video though. If you've made it this far, please do be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also leave me a comment on what you hope to see in this patch and the upcoming ones in July and August. We have had a lot of people asking about joining our Discord or maybe hanging out with our org. The link to my Discord is always in the description of the video. Feel free to join. All that we ask is that you remain amicable to the community we've built so far. There's a lot of good guys in here. As always, thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe out there, and I'll see you in the verse. Phoenix out.